Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Layer Explorer. Today with us we have Sav. He's one of those really cool people that you just get to meet at Annecy Festival in like a random picnic. We met in I think it was like 2017. So he said that was almost 10 years ago in the episode, and that kind of blew my mind. But when I met him, he was an incredible character designer, and this was 2017, so he has digivolved since. The moment the interview starts, you'll see just how many layers the painting has. And I don't think he had many more layers. He merged a few, he said, but I don't think he had much more than what's in there. And you just see the confidence in his shape knowledge, in his character design knowledge, composition knowledge. I think it's the most like inking comics type that we've had in this show so far. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, go watch it. Enjoy. Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Layer Explorer. My name is Pedro, and I've created this whole show just so I can invite my favorite artists and watch them unpeel their Photoshop files so I can look through their layers and pay attention to their amazing processes and methods and how they go about their paintings. Today, I'm here with my friend Sav. We've seen each other in Annecy a couple of times, but I think we met in 2017. 17, yeah. And
yes, I think so.
He was a pretty incredible character designer then, and he's a pretty legendary character designer now. But yeah, do you wanna present yourself?
Yes. So I'm Saverio Wielkens. I'm a character designer from the Netherlands. Yeah, I do a lot of different projects. So I work on short films, longer form, advertising, also illustration projects. I do everything that needs some drawing and needs some color, needs some fun. That's why people ask me. Pedro and I met each other in 2017. So that's almost a decade ago.
Wow.
And every time we see each other, we're like, hey, let's get, I know. I feel like an older man.
Yeah, almost a decade ago. Wow.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But I think we've both grown as artists, as people, and I think it's fun. This is also a fun way just to have a chat and show you what I got, I guess.
I'm so excited. Okay, should we get to the layers?
Yes, let's go.
Let's do this. Okay, so we have here our first layer, just a blank Photoshop file. So tell us a little bit about the context of this painting. Is this part of something bigger? Was just a kind of a one-off thing? How did the idea start?
Good question to start with, because it's part of something bigger, but it's also part of something that's been laying around for a while. So it's part of a collaboration I'm doing with people that write. And this was an image that isn't used eventually. But let me go back to the origin story. Actually, it's the same year we've met. So in 2017, I did my internship at the production company. And this was still the time I was figuring out, because it's my last year as a student, or my third year as a student. I was still figuring out what's the direction I'm going. Am I going to be an animator, or am I going to do design or something else within animation? I wasn't really sure. I did an internship as an animator. I didn't really like the animating part. And then my teacher, he was a director. He was like, do your internship at our place, at the production company. And they let me also design art for projects that didn't start yet, or were still in a pre-production phase. And one of those projects was about this story. Also about ships going to Indonesia, and it's about the 17th century. Yeah, that's as far as I can tell the story, but it's an interesting story, and we try to play with the characters. Maybe we can add some animal elements to these characters, and this specific painting is about the people that were working on the ship, because they were traveling for 7 to 8 months on ship only. And in how they were written in the story, they weren't the most like nicest of people. And I wanted to capture that feeling, like, okay, and they feel like a pack of people. So their presence as a group can be more intimidating or stronger than if it was just one of those characters.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, so I drew a bunch of those characters back in 2017. I still like some of the concepts, but I was also curious, like, how am I gonna reimagine the ideas I had back then with the drawing skills I have now and the ideas I have nowadays.
Very nice. Very nice. Because I'm glad you said that, like, okay, I can't say more because my next question is going to be like, tell us more about the story. But okay, this is all we got. Very mysterious so far.
I can tell a little bit. I can tell a little bit without spoiling.
Okay.
Because there's already some things that have been shared, but because I'm not sure. I think they're going to change the show, so that's why it's fine to not tell everything. But it's basically about a kid growing up in Amsterdam in the 17th century, and his dad was part of a float that went to Indonesia in the 17th century, but he hasn't heard from his dad in 2 years. And he basically wants to figure out what happened to him. So he's going on a boat trip, and he's also 17. He's never been outside of the city. So he has a very small world. And so he goes on this big adventure, basically. And then he learns about it's almost like a coming of age. He's becoming an adult, and through hardships, and he learns a lot of new emotions, but also a lot of new imagery, and also a lot of new flavors, a lot of new things. But this first part of the story is him going on this boat trip, and then reality hit him, basically, like how some people are in real life. So yeah, that's some of the context, I think. That.
And the characters that we are gonna see in this painting, can you share their relevance in the story?
So on the ship, because they have to travel for like 8 months. And our main character, he isn't used to doing any physical labor. So they represent that part, but also, things like reading, and those were considered for the privileged back then. So these are also characters that represent, like, they talk with their physique in a way. And they also just blindly followed their superior. So when the superior tells them, let's do this or that, they just do it. And the things that they do are in contrast with the things the main character believes. So the way they are portrayed is also the way he sees them. Let me put it like that. So it doesn't mean like they're actually like this, but that's how they're perceived.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
And how do you start then a painting like this? Like what's your first, so you have a very solid foundation, like you have a story, you have like a solid brief. Yeah. So how do you approach like something like this? What's like your first layer, I guess?
So for this specific project, but starting digitally for me sometimes feels like a step 2. Sometimes I need to make it quicker for myself or make it more direct to the things that I'm thinking. So I try to start on paper, like, okay, let me sketch some of these ideas. I think I just sketched some ideas in the train, because in the train I have like an hour of just sitting and just doing whatever, either doing nothing, listening to music, or just draw. Sometimes it's a nice peaceful moment just to get some of the first ideas out. Okay, so I know what kind of characters I want to make, but I'm not sure how they will actually look. So I just doodle stuff. So do you want me to show the first layer?
Yes. Let's do this.
So the first layer is actually, like, you can already see it in the name. It's an image. So it's a photo of the sketch.
What?
So this is what I made in the train. So I just thought about this. I didn't want to make these characters into like fully like animals, but I wanted to give them some inhumane aspects. So I was thinking of this human face with some crocodile-ish features. Crocodiles are associated with water, of course, and because it's on the ship, and I wanted to add some of those. Okay, maybe what kind of creatures would live on the ship? Maybe something with water, and crocodile, they always seem like, not always, but their mouth structure looks like they laugh. And I really like that aspect. Like, I think these characters laugh without them actually laughing. I think gives characters very, makes them intimidating in a way.
Interesting.
Because
you
cannot read their expression, right?
Yeah.
But I also like the idea of spreading out the teeth to make it feel like crooked, because some of the crocodiles also have their teeth spread out through their mouth. The only thing I was just thinking of, I was just imagining one character instead of 4 or more, I was just thinking, how does this one character look? So I'm trying to explore different sides, different angles. How do the eyes look? Am I going to go for like a very stylized silhouette? Because I usually like very stylized silhouettes, like sharp edges. Does it also emphasize the sharpness of the characters and makes them more intimidating in a way? But at the same time, gives the small ears also makes it a bit silly. And I think you need some balance, right?
Yeah.
Sketches don't always look like the perfect drawing, but they show the idea. And for me, it gives a lot of freedom just to draw stuff without a lot of expectations, just to get the idea out. And sometimes there's some good ideas in the sketches you make, and then you can take it to the next step, basically.
Yeah, maybe not the best example of like a sketch not looking like an amazing drawing. This one, but as an idea, a sketch doesn't look like an amazing can like not look like an amazing drawing. Sure, that's true, but this is not a good example of that.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. And like, for example, you spoke about the eyes, you spoke about the teeth. Is this something that you make this decision almost in a kind of written way before you start drawing, or you start drawing and you're like, okay, actually, I'm going to make the eyes a little bit smaller to get there? Is it something that like the drawing lets you reach this conclusion, or when you start drawing, you already go with this intention of like, okay, I'm going to go with small eyes straight away, and you just draw the small eyes?
That's a good question. I think it's I think a little bit of both, because on one hand, I had the idea in my head of a crocodile character, right? But you know how ideas work. Some people can really see all the details in their head. For me, it's more the concept. Sometimes I can see some shapes, but it's always a bit abstract in my head. So I need to get it out. So I knew I was gonna make the mouth long because of the crocodile aspect.
Yeah.
And in terms of, because this is also, I wanted the characters not to be cartoony in a way that they are cartoony in the stylized way, but they are not cartoony in a way that this is meant for like little children. So the bigger the eyes, the cuter they are. So I wanted to make them less cute, right? So I made the eyes smaller. I think that's it. Those are some subconscious decisions, but they are based or rooted in previous experiences. And so, yeah, I think that's as far as like the conscious decisions I made. I think for me, just like, let me just get this idea out of my head. There's something there that isn't clear. Let me just draw it and let's see what happens. And maybe I can think about it again after I made the sketch. So after I made the sketch, I decided I need to take this into a digital format to explore this more, basically.
Very cool. And remembering the final painting that I've already seen, I can definitely see like the designs, the design decisions that stayed for the final designs. And this is with no references either, right? So you were in the train. You were not like one hand on Pinterest, the other hand on the sketchbook.
No, it was just me and my brain. Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes, to be honest, if I don't know what kind of face I want to make, I just look around. So in the train, there's always people, right? So maybe I should
so funny. Okay.
Someone into this here. And the nice thing is, if I make them into something else, they don't know that I'm drawing them. So that's a win-win.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's mostly imagination with some previous knowledge, I guess.
Okay, I'm curious. So starting from here, this is not reflecting, this is just an exploration of the character. It's not reflecting the really cool composition that you have in the final painting. So how does this then inform the next layer?
So the next The next layer. So you know how Photoshop works, right? No, sorry, that's a stupid way of saying it. But I mean, like, I tend not to work on it in order. So I made this first, and then I made something else, and then I added something below that, and then something in between. So it's like I played Jenga with my own art.
Okay. Yeah, because I've said this in another layer explorers to the people like listening to this. Like, we are turning on the layers from the bottom up, which usually I've been surprised actually. I had one case that it was actually chronological, but usually does not reflect the chronologically how this painting came to be, because I can already see like a gray like layer there, so it's probably not how you started, like the one after.
Should I turn it on?
It was. Yeah, let's do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually setting the tone. I guess this is setting the tone of, okay, these are going to be this is the baseline of the colors I'm aiming for. Yeah, this is not the order I work in usually, but it you know how traditional painters work? You start with the sketch, and then you add like the first layer just to fill up the canvas with some color, and then you can go either darker or lighter. I think I like that idea as well. So this is not the intention, but I do. After I've done some lines, I want to add some background colors just to give the characters context. Like, it's going to be a bright setting or it's going to be a dark setting. Even if it's just one color fill, I think it already can give set the tone of the piece itself.
So at what stage of the painting do you create this layer then? So you make some lines and then you make this before you start adding the colors.
I think it's the fourth step. So first step is the photo I made, like the train sketch. The second step is, okay, let me translate this train sketch into like a digital sketch or digital lines. Depends on the style, right? If it's very clean, I'm probably going to add 2 steps, like do a digital sketch and then do a digital cleanup. But for this project, I wanted to keep some of the rawness. I want to keep some of the line energy. So, okay, after the lines, I add, fills to the character. So I just fill in the silhouette, and the silhouette, I just give a random color in the beginning. And then based on that, and then I decided it was going to be the background color, and then I changed the character color based on these layers.
Okay, nice. So what's next?
More context, I guess. Did I use this? I'm not sure.
That's funny.
Yeah, but as you can see, I want to play with textures because for me, this specific piece, I didn't want to make a background. I wanted to give it a moment, just like focus on the character and play with textures, highlight them in a way and make it a bit dramatic. So in contrast to the grain green, this is like a very bright, almost yellowish green, and it feels like a toxic color, and I kind of like that. And I want to make that as a backdrop for the characters. I was still figuring out like how I'm going to use the texture. Am I going to use it throughout the whole painting, or am I going to use it in certain ways? Let me just go ahead, right?
Yeah. Do at your own speed.
I think I separate. I wanted to. It's more like a vignette almost. You frame the image already, because in this stage the characters were already standing there, right? So I just like, okay, how can I frame them more so they pop out? So this is basically the setting of the characters. I think the next one is going to be one of the fills of one of the characters.
Okay.
So there are going to be multiple characters like in the sketch. Oh. Yeah, can I turn it on?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We can already imagine where the crocodiles are going to go. Ooh, that already looks nice, even though it doesn't even have lines yet.
So let me refer back to this sketch. So there are layers of these characters. Instead of making one up, like, let me just use this composition and make that into like let's make this composition work actually, because it makes it very claustrophobic. So this is the most back crocodile. So how I work normally is after the sketch, I fill in the silhouette of the sketch, and then I block out the colors. But I did it in because I have like, I'm not sure, I think like 5 characters in this piece. I colored, I had the base color for all of them, and then I tried to use some color variation. So this one has a specific green, the other one has a different green, and so they all had their own greens.
Interesting.
As a base color. And I did the same with the shirt. They all had the same kind of similar colored shirt, but I'll give them a variation. So once I have one, I can just color them all based on that color. I just color pick this color and then I change it in the next one. Like, let's add some vibrance, or let's get rid of some vibrance. And I did it with every part of this coloring. Just making one and then like making variations on base of that one is for me a very quick way of coloring these characters. So I think for the next part is, so in the end I wanted to give them all their own space. So I added a little bit of fog to each of them to separate them a little bit. So around the edges, so you give space to the one that's on top of it.
Right.
I only did it at the, but you'll see later. So I think the next one is.
So cool.
For me, this is also a surprise, to be honest. See it like this.
You don't usually see it without the lines, right?
No. That's very funny. That's nice.
One thing that I'm like surprised about is that you're turning on the layers like this, and we haven't gotten to the lines. Yeah. And I can kind of see, especially under like the chin of the top one, a shape that I would guess is the eye of the one in front. And is there a reason why you like to, because for example, for me, I would put crocodile at the back, and then this crocodile has lines and colors just so I don't have to be so worried about the silhouette of the one in front, but you are actually carving the silhouette of the one in front. So you do all the lines in one layer, and then you do all the colors kind of respecting the like color next to it, just so it doesn't go on top. Is that how you organize the layers?
Yeah, yes. So because for this specific drawing, because there's a lot of characters, right? And I had the sketch in my sketchbook in which they were all like, I just drew them on one page, and then I tried to translate that idea into like a digital line work. And then it was one of those days in which I felt like, today I can draw. Some days I feel like, I feel like I cannot draw, but that day I felt like I can draw. And then I just did the whole composition in one layer.
Nice.
And it worked like that. But in order to color it in a proper way, I had to separate all those individual characters to give them a hierarchy, and which one is on the foreground, which was in the background. And so that's also important, but also to keep the focus, because it's easy to get lost. If I was to color this as a one layer, all the characters, it would be insane. But now I can just, let's color the heads first. So I did the heads first, and then I did the mouth and the tongue, and then I went for the shirt. And so I think this one has the brightest shirt. I'm not sure. So
very nice.
Yeah, this one also has some light. So I kind of blurred him because he's also more to the background. So you lose some of the details, but you also feel like, he's being pushed to the background. I'm curious, but I think the next one is going to be the gap that's between these two. Yes.
Yeah, that was a good guess.
Yes.
Just even without the lines, they're already looking so cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it's very interesting to see. And so I also tried to make this one, I think in values a bit darker. As you can see, the shirt is darker. And I normally don't work like this because as you can see, the shapes are just broken up. But normally I work from the front to the back. So I wouldn't see it like this. Because now I'm working from the back to the front, which is also funny. So now I see all the gaps in between the characters, which is very interesting. Like you can almost see the characters
Positive
shining through
space,
them.
yeah, like the silhouettes.
That's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But the thing was, I also in the terms of design, I also wanted to give them each a different personality or a different character, or want to make them look different. So for this one, I gave him like a lip piercing ish. I thought that was fun because I think the ears are a bit too small to give them jewelry, but maybe the lip, maybe it's also a bit edgy, a bit like, okay, this is some of his possessions are in his mouth. I think it's funny because it's already very prominent.
Interesting. And it's interesting how it's like framed by the darker shirts. Like, because if it was against that bright background, then it wouldn't stand out so much. But the fact that it's within that little square of the shirt makes it really pop as like a prop. Really cool.
Right? Yeah. And also, if I turn off these glowy layers, you can also see they'll blend more, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it actually helps to give the character a bit more silhouette in a way.
Yeah.
For the visual hierarchy. They also, for this one, I also added some because he's also still not the most front character. I think now we're going to the two foreground characters. I think it's going to be the top one first. Yeah.
So far, all of your
nice.
guesses
this one
are
has a scar.
Nice. Very
So
nice.
like I said, I colored them kind of simultaneously. So I did the base color of one crocodile first, and then I made variations based on the base color. I wanted them to have a different color on all parts, different clothing, different skin tone, different. I think even the tongues are different on all the characters. I think the lips as well, but still make them feel like they're a group, you know?
Right.
I think, yeah, this is the last one. So yes, the least pog to him. And now we can reveal the most front one. Yeah.
Super cool.
So let's just for now, let me just group them and just to show this sketch again. So you can still see where the idea came from. I tried to stick kind of close to what I had.
Yeah,
I just added the fifth one.
Okay, because when I first saw the sketch, I thought it was an exploration. I didn't see it as like a composition, but actually like it's literally on top. It's like, wow.
Yeah. So me neither. So when I sketched this, it was like an exploration of one character. But then when I scanned this or I took a photo, I was like, I can also use this. I can just make a whole let me just try and make a whole composition out of this. And then it
super
became
cool.
This full composition of these characters.
Yeah, super cool.
I think we're slowly entering the magic. I think when the lines appear, then it's something. I think it's going to be very cool.
Okay.
I'm not sure what this, because I think I have 4 layers of light, but I'm not sure what this layer is going to be. Let's see. Oh, nice.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was already cool. Nice. Now it's like legendary.
To be honest, there was, I think, a moment. I think if I turn off these, I think I also really like the characters as they are. I think I also made a version in which they look like this. Because the lines had something playful with them.
Yeah. And it gives that feeling of like a collective character. It's like they are all like one character almost.
Exactly. Yeah, for me this part was very important. So I need to translate this idea into a composition full of characters with all their own personality, I had to draw this at once as well because I wanted to make it feel coherent and like they're part of the same. Yeah, that they're a group, you know.
Yeah. And the way you break the lines is so cool. like the lines are broken, right? There's like spaces between them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very, I was like hatching, you know, I just took like an angular line and then an angular line, and I just rotated my canvas and just made lines.
Okay.
Yeah, and eventually I had this composition. Yeah, it was very intuitive. But because I did a lot of the thinking in the sketch already, I only had to translate it into a feasible like digital sketch.
Okay.
So what I did here was already some of the thinking, and then in the line work I had to make it work as a drawing. But I some of the thinking was already done in the analog sketch, and it really helped for this process. So nowadays I also try to implement some of my traditional sketching more into my workflow. So sometimes it can really help getting out those ideas before translating them into something digital. I think with this next one, I'm going to make it pop a little bit more. Oh, it's the brown.
I mean, you were not wrong. Like they are definitely popping.
Yeah, that's funny. I almost forgot they had brows, man.
Yeah. I did not remember that. I remembered, I knew they were 5, but like I did not remember the brows part. That's quite funny.
Yeah, but it's actually a good thing, right? So it means like it blends with their character.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really take away much of the attention. But because now we're putting the emphasis on what's the new layer, and now we see them. Now it feels like they're missing their brows. It's kind of funny.
And what about like your color decisions? Is it so you started with the green, like we started with like a green, and then you started adjusting, maybe making it warmer, less saturated, darker for like each one of the crocodiles. And then there's like a really nice combination between the colors of like the clothes and then the yellow. So how did you get to these colors? Was it just like one at a time, or did you have like a reference?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are, of course, some reasoning or some rules or to why I decided on these colors. So, for example, the green that I started with, there was a nice base tone. Okay, I know they're going to be green because I have the idea. They still need to symbolize crocodiles. And I also wanted the lips to have a darker tone than their skin. So I just had to figure out, okay, so the lips are going to be darker than the skin tone I chose for them. And some of them have this shaven look, like they shave their beards. So I wanted to make that part around the mouth a bit more desaturated. Like when you shave, there's the pigment has a different color than the rest of your face. And not on all of them, but I think I wanted to add some emphasis, maybe give the nose and the ears some color contrast. I didn't do that on all of them, but the eyes were also important to me. So
very nice.
For the top right one, I made it a bit more reddish because the skin tone was also a bit darker than the rest. And for the other ones, I tried to, I made them green, or like this top left one almost has like a bluish kind of green around the eye, I think. Because in some of the pirates films, you know, because they also symbolize pirates in a way. You know, they sometimes use the how do you call it, the mascara around the eyes, right?
Yeah.
Or for example, in the Pirates of the Caribbean, he also has like the eyeliner.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's why I added the eye shading around and just to talk about it from a zoomed out perspective again. I gave them all their own colors, and then I had rules based on that color. So the lips are going to be darker. The tongues are going to be like a pinkish tone. And also look at the saturation. So the colors, they won't, I think the brightest color, it can never be brighter than, all the colors cannot be brighter than the brightest color in the painting. So nice. I always like to build a system. And also with the clothing, because it's going to be like a 70th century clothing. I had some references. I'm not sure if I used them for this specific one, but so a lot of brown tones, because we also wanted to you know Rembrandt, the painter?
No, I don't think so.
Now it's a famous Dutch painter, but he in a lot of his painting, he portrayed a lot of 17th century people and mostly people. And he was famous for his use of light. But he also, if you look at most of his paintings, they all have this brownish deal to them. Also because of the lack of pigment. Pigment was very expensive, right? Very colorful. So a lot of colors were based on brownish tones. And I wanted to take some of that into this piece. Like, okay, let's use a lot of brownish greens and brown and like light browns and see if we can come up with still a lot of color without using a lot of vibrance. So that there was also I think a subconscious decision I made. Like, okay, let's play with and limited a range of colors.
Very nice.
Thanks. And what's next? Oh, wow! I made a separate layer. That's funny, and I totally forgot about this, to be honest. But
that's so jokes.
I think because I was like, oh, there's some empty space here. Maybe we can add, because here, the bottom right, his head is covered basically. The top right, he has like his bandana, and the other twos, it's nice to have their silhouette popping out. I think I made a decision like, let's add some hair to these. Let's humanize them a little bit.
Yeah.
But give them some scruffy hair. I think it also, again, adds to a little bit of the silliness.
Yeah.
Because I think it's also important to have some balance. So they're of course scary crocodiles. And also in the lines, I emphasize that the lines are also a bit crooked. But, the lines have some texture that also makes it a bit, you can feel the tone. But adding the hair, the small ears, the smiles, makes it also a bit silly.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that balance.
He's definitely the leader. Like, he's the one pulling, making the calls.
Yeah,
here.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And this layer, I think this is a fun layer. I had fun doing this one. Like, just adding the blacks.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Now it looks like almost like a comic, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I think just these layers, now it's already almost like an ink of a comic. I think I also was aiming a little bit for that feeling, like some digital inking. Yeah, and then based on this, and now I can do like a reverse engineer the steps. So then take off some of the colors. So, based on some of the colors, I just...
Oh, so you didn't add the hair and those little details when color was there?
No.
Ah,
no,
okay.
I did all the lines first, and then I added the colors. Yeah.
Very nice.
I also really like the character. Okay, but I think after this is going to be a big jump, because
okay.
I also played. I also went back and forth with throwing this into Procreate and then back into Photoshop. I think I played with the color contrast, and I think I also changed some of the background textures. But I don't think I have the process of that actually. I think I just flattened the whole image. Yeah, as you can see. So
nice,
I think it's the same image. Then I changed the contrast, so it felt more intimidating in a way.
Yeah, a bit more atmospheric.
Make them a bit more dark.
Yeah.
I think. Oh yeah. Oh, here it is. Then I added some highlights to them because I wanted to make this into an illustration as well. So I just let's add some highlights and play with it, and maybe around the eyes. And make the eyes pop a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
And then I went for some final grading. So I had this image, but I want to add some grain to it. Or I think, I also added some scratches to the faces, some very subtle scratches to give the faces some texture as well. Yeah. Just small things. And then at the end, I just flatten this image again and then add grain to it. And maybe again look at the color balance again, and then call it a day.
Yeah. You push the levels a little bit too.
Exactly. Because also per screen it's different, right? That I also wanted to let me zoom out just for now, because it's important for me to make it work also when it's small.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah, that's the story about these 5 pirate crocodiles.
So cool. Wow.
Yeah, it was actually, I think I spent like maybe 4 hours on this piece, maybe a little bit more.
Oh, that's quite fast.
So sketching in a train, pretty quick. Then I did the line work, I think in like 1.5 hours. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think because normally I'm not quick like that. I know I can be quick, but it was very quick. And then I spent the last 2 to 3 hours just playing with the colors, because making them into different layers is a lot of work, especially the blocking out part. It's a lot of work.
The worst part is it's like the technical bit that you just have to get through to then start playing with the colors. Like, okay, I need to lasso tool inside of this shape, and then drop the color, and then lasso tool inside of this shape.
Exactly.
And drop the color. And then if you, especially like I'm looking at those teeth,
yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, you have to go around the teeth so it doesn't come out. And like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just, I cannot just do like very quick, but that's also things I like about this process. It's a bit messy, but that adds to the vibe of the whole thing. And there are some accidents or some things that I did not foresee, like the way I did my lines here and there. I think it's fun, to also be open to some things you did not plan before. Because from the sketch to the line work to the coloring I didn't really know beforehand how it was going to look. And I think that's the fun of the drawing process, to be guided by, to actually trust the process. Because if you know the steps, but you don't know the outcome, I think that's kind of fun.
So cool.
So yeah,
I'm a bit baffled. I'm like, okay, I usually have the next question, but I'm like, wow. And that little touch of you adding the triangles to the background, it's like that. It's just like brings the background closer to this kind of graphic style where the characters are as well. So it's still super textured.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily telling me what's in the background. I don't know if this is city, if this is forest, if this is like in the middle of the sewers where it's like very kind of very toxic, but like adding those triangles puts the focus back on the characters, but in a way that the visual language makes sense as well. So nice.
Yeah, and for me, it was, I think while doing those triangles, I was like, oh, this reminds me of those comic books in which you have the pow and those moments and when the characters do something.
Yeah.
And it's just character, right? It's just a character moment. I was like, oh, maybe I can use some of those visual techniques. I think I just played with it and I was like, oh, let's just do it and see if it works. And I kind of like how it turned out. But I wanted to show real quick, like there was also an alternative.
Do it.
There was before I colored it completely. Do you see it?
Oh.
I also still like this, to be honest. I think I like this more, and that's the funny thing I wanted to say, because sometimes I didn't feel like I lost something in the end, but I just appreciate the in-between space as well. Like, okay, sometimes things don't need to be fully with lighting and everything. I just really like these colors and that they're actually very close to each other. It makes it also very claustrophobic. And yeah, I wanted to show this in the end. Like, this is very nice. This is actually the piece that I'm gonna be happy with for a long time.
Interesting, yeah. Wow. And like you still have triangles and those pointy kind of thunder silhouettes in the background. Yeah. Wow. If you tell me this is like it's a Hydra, right? The one from Hercules. Like it all belongs in the same body. It's just different heads of the same character. I'll be like,
exactly.
That's yeah. I can see it. Very cool.
So
Wow.
yeah, man, that's the process of these crocodile pirates.
Yeah, very cool. This is our second. I think this is our second character design, like more character. I mean, this is still like a background, like a composition, but we had Danny a while ago. He also does character design, so it's nice to see like another approach
Nice.
and a focus on that kind of. I mean, I guess the design principles are the same, but it's this kind of brings like some variety as well into the kind of stuff that we explore here. But yeah, super cool.
Yeah, because they're not full body, right? So it was more about the composition, expression, colors. So it was less about, okay, why did I design them in a specific way? It was more like, okay, how can I make this work into like a composition? I think it's also fun to talk about and show you some of my how I work. I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, by the way. It was fun, man.
No, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, and when I saw you at Annecy, I was like, no, I have to ask if you like be okay with like showing up. Also excited for when you're gonna come and visit Berlin. We'll do something together as well.
Yeah, I want to go in October because I like when it's a bit at the end of summer in Berlin. I think that's a nice vibe or something.
But definitely come to Berlin. I'll show you around. I'll show you a lot of stuff.
Yes.
You're gonna be eating a lot of different food as well. And yeah, thank you so much for being so available to do this, which is such a short notice. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate you.
Of course, yeah.
Like being so open. We had, I mean, not those many technical problems. The usual technical passes, and you're also like super patient. And you brought this amazing piece and like, I don't need to do much. I just let you speak your mind, and this like amazing like process is revealed in like a matter of, I don't know, 50 minutes or something. Super cool. So
thank you
so much for this. And guys, that's it. This is Lyric Explorer, and I'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Ciao, ciao.